Welcome to this special edition of the YMB and BTC podcast. The YMB team had an awesome time at the Bitcoin and the Beltway conference last weekend, and today we begin sharing it with you. This is the first of several interviews that we will be releasing every few days for the next week or two. Today, our chat is with Jason King, a man that we love and respect very much. He does all kinds of charity work with Bitcoin, and he also co-chaired this very conference. We are extremely happy to have him, and we want to say thanks for all his great work and his amazing spirit. To help show our appreciation, 75% of all tips given to our Bitcoin in the Beltway interviews will go directly to Sean's Outpost, which is Mr. King's primary charity. You can visit our website, YMBandBTC.com, to find our donation addresses. Here we go. Hey everybody, we are broadcasting again from the Bitcoin Beltway conference.
Bitcoin in the Beltway!
Bitcoin in the Beltway, that's right. We are here. We want to thank our sponsors real quick, API Coin and Monero, for getting us here. Extremely grateful to them. But we are sitting down right now with Mr. Jason King. He's I would say an awesome guy, but these guys think I say awesome too much, so he's a really cool guy.
You can use it.
But anyway, so, you know, a lot of people, when we're talking about Jason King, the first thing they think is charity. That's your main thing. So can you tell us about your charity projects with Bitcoin, and what are they, and how do they work, and everything like that?
Sure, man. Yeah, so I'm pretty much associated with Sean's Outposts. What we are is we're a homeless outreach, but what differentiates us is we're 100% funded by cryptocurrency, mainly Bitcoin, some Litecoin, some Dogecoin, Peercoin, Primecoin, but primarily Bitcoin. And in the last 14 months, we've fed 85,000 meals to the homeless in Pensacola, Florida, Dallas, Texas, Toronto, Canada, Vancouver, Canada. And we run Satoshi Forest, which is a 9-acre homeless sanctuary in Pensacola. It's actually technically illegal to be homeless in Pensacola, so we, using Bitcoin, have actually financed a 9-acre piece of property that's a sanctuary where it's a safe place to be homeless. Sounds ridiculous when you say it. Oh yeah, it's like it's now safe to be homeless. But yeah, so that's what we do. Is that your question?
Yeah,
Okay.
No, that's fantastic. Yeah, Sean's Outpost we think that's awesome. It's really popular in the Bitcoin world and everything.
You said awesome again.
Yeah, I know. Sorry.
We'll have to say it quite a few times.
Well, hey, you mentioned a ton of locations there that you were working on these handing out meals and everything. I heard recently that you were, maybe this is already done, but you were working on some new locations. Is that true? Is that still going on?
Yeah, so Pensacola was our first, and that's like where we've done the most work. It's my hometown. We stood up Dallas in March, and then we're sort of in the process of standing up Toronto and Vancouver right now. So those are like the new hotness with Sean's Outpost is the Canadian location. So yeah.
Sweet. Well,
I was just going to ask, with Bitcoin, I mean, what do you think is the best about Bitcoin that it helps with charity? Like what part of it is conducive to charity, I guess?
So the whole thing is conducive to charity. So charity's broken. Like all of it, and it's like there's organizations that we know and we love, but unfortunately the nonprofit system in America and around the world a lot, it's like it's completely broken. You build these institutions that ultimately are ineffective at what they're doing, and then we have a system of funding for these nonprofits that's really convoluted. It's basically 91.7% of all U.S. charities are funded completely either by government subsidies in terms of tax-deductible donations, government-subsidized grants, or direct fees paid by the United States government. So the problem with that is that we now have 90% of our nonprofits that are 100% dependent on this like small portion of our legal system. So if there's just like a small change in it, we could see just catastrophe across the whole nonprofit sector. And because they've become reliant on these sources of funding, it's changed sort of how they act, because now they don't act in terms of like what's best for helping the demographic they're supposed to be helping. They act in terms of what's best for me getting this grant? How can I act so that I best meet the qualifications for this funding application? And then you've gotten completely away for what you got into the business of helping people, whatever it is, if you're saving the dolphins or feeding homeless or whatever your nonprofit is. So you stop optimizing for results, you start optimizing for this funding model. Bitcoin just turns that completely on its head, because for the first time in human history, I can say, hey, people are starving on the streets of Pensacola, Florida. I'm going to go feed them. If you want to help me, you can send me Bitcoin from Zimbabwe. And I'll have it right now. We won't wait. There won't be a funding period. There's not going to be a hold on it. Your bank account's not going to get frozen because you chose to pay me. No, you're not going to get put on a blacklist. They're not going to freeze your credit card. You're just going to help directly, and then I'm going to take that Bitcoin and I'm going to go feed somebody. So you can be eating a sandwich in Germany and be like, you know what? I wish I could buy a sandwich for a dude in Dallas, Texas. And you can send Bitcoin to Sean's Outpost, and we'll turn that Bitcoin into a sandwich and go give it to a dude. And it's direct action, cuts a lot of the middleman out, and it cuts down on the bureaucracy, and it allows us to be extremely transparent in what we do. And that's what we do. We try to be extremely transparent in the care that we're providing for the homeless and the disenfranchised. Kind of went on a tirade there.
That's great.
Yeah, that's great.
Everything is awesome.
Yeah, we love that. This is kind of related. Maybe you already answered this. You don't have to say any more about that if you don't want. But I guess we were saying some people think that the only reason people are using Bitcoin for stuff like this is because it's kind of a novelty, and I think obviously we'd all disagree with that. That it's valuable for the reasons you just said.
Yeah, and so if you don't mind, I will talk on that. Is that it's important. It's not just Bitcoin's obviously not just a novelty, right? But the utility that it brings to the nonprofit sector it's paramount. It's something that we absolutely need. If you care about charity, maybe you don't. That's great. That's your opinion. Maybe you don't think there's any value in the nonprofit sector. No, there's a lot of people out there that are just fucked up. But if you actually believe there's something charity, our whole sector is at risk right now. We have through these compromises in our system, the whole nonprofit sector is at risk. And Bitcoin literally is the biggest lifeline that's available for charities and nonprofits to start funding directly and to get off of some of this, government subsidization so that you can actually put sustainability back into your programming. Because it's real simple. If your entire budget is from a $10 million tax deductible donation, and then there's a change in the tax law, and now that donation's not tax deductible, guess what? Next year you don't have a budget at all. And you just go away. Literally, it's sorry man, no money. And then the next day all your employees are in the street and you're not providing for your mission, So Bitcoin can change that, or can start to change that too. And then, I don't know, if, you have anarchists that listen to your podcast, is this an anarchy thing?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, so, if you want to fuck with the government, feed homeless people, man. I would have never guessed it, but, there is no bigger affront to, pulling back the curtain on what a sham the government is than feeding people, right? Because, that's what the government says they do. They're no, we're going to take your money because you wouldn't help people. So we're going to take your money because you're an idiot, and we're going to take it. We're going to help people. But they don't help anybody. They help themselves, right? So, but when you're out there as a private individual voluntarily, of your own free will, helping other people, you're showing what a sham the whole, welfare bullshit statement is as to why it's cool for them to steal your money through taxes. And so, I think that you should help other people because it's cool and it's the right thing to do, quote unquote, what right thing to do. But even if you don't like helping people, right, and you just want to piss the government off, go feed some homeless people. They'll be there pissed off in a minute. Just in a heartbeat. They'll be there. It's on the Sean's Outpost website, it's if you want to start a revolution, don't pick up a gun, pick up a soup ladle. Because, that's it, it's really pulling back the curtain on this whole scam. So, all right, there's my anarchy for the day. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really, really awesome. And okay, yeah, it's awesome. we love hearing all the good things about Bitcoin itself, and then how it can make the world a better place too. That's just awesome. Well, hey, another, I guess, a project that you are doing is running across America, or Bitcoin across America.
Bitcoin
Can you
across America.
Yeah, tell us about that. How far did you run? How much you raised? Stuff like that.
Yeah, so as sort of a fundraiser and also just to raise awareness for the homeless epidemic in America, I did a project called Bitcoin Across America, and on January 26th, I left from Miami Beach, Florida, and physically ran to San Francisco, California, and I got into San Francisco on June 9th. Maybe it's the 7th. I'm screwing this up already. Seriously, this is just a blur. Anyway, 5.5 months later, 4.5 months later, got into San Francisco, entered AT&T Field. Total was 3,237 miles. Averaged 31.7 miles a day for the 4.5 months. Lost 72 pounds, raised 204 Bitcoins for the homeless. Talked to thousands of people about Bitcoin, talked to thousands of people about homelessness. America likes a spectacle, and so I figure you do something stupid like that, and then people actually talk about what's going on, So, yeah, there it is.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah. That's great. Amazing. Well, yeah, no, that really is, though. It's just good to see evangelism for Bitcoin and helping people and all that stuff put together. It's really awesome. Well, hey, just I guess two more things before we finish. One more project is this conference. You've been kind of in charge of this, so can you tell us the story of this conference, kind of where the ideas came from and how it's been going, putting it together and everything, and where this is just the first night, but you can tell us how the first night's gone too, so.
Yeah, so I met my wife in D.C., and we lived here for about 10 years. I was in the U.S. Army, and my last duty station was Fort Belvoir, which is just a little bit south of Washington, D.C. So I lived in the D.C. area for about 10 years, so I'm very familiar with it. And it just seemed like a good area to do a conference in, for a bunch of different reasons. Like, Capitol Hill's trying to do regulation for Bitcoin. I mean, ultimately, that's probably a futile thing to do. I mean, you're not going to really be able to clamp down on a protocol like that. Michael Goldstein has this great line, which is you can't hold a gun to algebra, and so I think that's a great metaphor for this. But it's really, they're going to try, and it's just a great place to educate those people, and so we wanted to make a real quality conference with good speakers talking about Bitcoin, talking about all the things that Bitcoin can do, and put it here so it's like, if a politician says, well, I didn't know. Well, why don't you know? There was a conference there. All the speakers were there. The best people talking about Bitcoin were all talking about Bitcoin there. You should have gone. And so we did. And it's great. And it's cool because it's, for all the people that are talk about the government wants to shut us down, we're like 4 blocks from the Capitol building right now, and we're here and they can't do anything about it. And it's kind of awesome. Bitcoin the Beltway.
Yeah, we like to get a personal story from any of our guests that we remember too. Sometimes we forget, but just any personal story, anyone cool that you met, or anyone awesome, even though you are awesome. But or a funny story, or a time you got scammed in Bitcoin, or just anything. Any cool stories.
Oh man, let me think. I haven't been scammed in Bitcoin, and I know that's rare because I think everyone gets scammed a little bit, but I haven't really been scammed. So now I'm going to get scammed. I scammed that on your show. Everyone's going to be like, he's good scam. Let's see. So, let's talk about some awesome people.
Yeah.
Okay, so, do you guys know the Cryptocurrency College Network?
Yeah, we
just talked to some people tonight.
So, they don't get enough press, and they're one of our sponsors here, right? But I think those dudes are geniuses. And it's the reason is that I'm older, I'm 35. I don't think that I'm old, but I'm ancient. So, Vitalik Burton's changing the whole world and he's 19 or whatever, I was on the internet in 1988 and, no one was on the internet. I mean, it was all nerds. We're all command lining it, on the internet. And then mid 90s, it was part of collegiate curriculum, right? So it's you would go to college, and you would understand what the internet was, and then it would just become part of your life. And it was a big deal at first as you learned how to utilize it, and then it was just it was just part of your tool set for going through the rest of your life, using a phone or anything else, right? And that's really where adoption for the internet came from, is that it just became part of the collegiate curriculum. It was just it just became a normal thing. So these guys that are really trying to push Bitcoin on that same level was like, like the MIT Bitcoin project guys, that are airdropping $500,000 in MIT, right? How beautiful is that? Like everyone at MIT is going to have Bitcoin, right? So then like next year, MBD, no big deal. Bitcoin, we all got it. Like why are we even talking about it? We just use it. It's not like a novelty. It's just part of your life. And so I think that the cryptocurrency collegiate network in like promoting Bitcoin on the collegiate level, I think that's huge. I think that that's for adoption and just like it's like making it. It can't be this thing where everyone every day, like, if something's gonna like really be there every day, you can't be like, this is the best thing ever. It's like, imagine if you picked up your iPhone every day and you're like, oh, my iPhone is so wonderful. It just needs to be part of your life. And then so that's what these dudes are doing. They're just making Bitcoin part of your life early in it, so that like, when you graduate from college, you've been using Bitcoin for 4 years, so it's not a big deal. Bitcoin's not a big deal anymore, right? Like, it's just how the world works. And I think that's just, I don't know. I don't know why they don't get so much more press for that, because I think that idea is just so powerful. So, so all of those dudes are just killer. And I love those dudes a lot. So, CCN.
So sweet. Yeah, we met some of them tonight, and that's great. Yeah, can't wait to talk to them some more and see what all they're doing. But this was Jason King, runs some charities, and is in charge of this amazing Bitcoin in the Beltway conference. Thanks a lot for joining us today.
Any other?
Oh yeah, well, any way people can contact you, anything they should do to follow you, what are your websites maybe?
Sure. So Sean's Outpost is seansoutpost.com, SEANS outpost.com. We're at Sean's Outpost on Twitter. Follow Sean's Outpost on Facebook. Bitcoin Beltway, bitcoinbeltway.com. And are you guys having fun? Are you guys having a good time at the conference? Yeah? Good time?
He's actually having to talk to people.
Yeah, nice. All right. Well, thanks for coming out, guys. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. I'm not going to say awesome.
You just did.
Thanks for listening to our special interview with Jason King. Stay tuned over the next week or so for more interviews with people like Jeffrey Tucker from Liberty.me and Paige Peterson from MadeSafe. Our visit to this fantastic conference was brought to you by our sponsors, API Coin and Monero, who cannot be thanked enough. API Coin is the first Bitcoin platform as a service. It is a robust and scalable Bitcoin API that values privacy and security. Monero is a new privacy-centric cryptocurrency based on the CryptoNote protocol. The developers aim to make it an untraceable digital medium of exchange. Visit apicoin.io and monero.cc to learn more. All of the music in today's show was from Jon Stewart. See you next time.